What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down why Warlock has a 54.46% win rate. Honestly, one of the strongest supports in this patch. I have not had a lot of playing time on Warlock this patch just because the hero's freaking banned every single game. Everybody's got it in their list of priorities because the hero is absolutely broken. He is really strong. You can play him as a position 5. You can also play him as a position 4. I think 5 suits him the best, but you could play him as a 4 if you like to be a little bit more aggressive on the Warlock. But the hero, basically, with his facet Champion of Gorroth, his golems do more damage based on his HP and mana regen, which honestly is really cool because the tankier you get on the Warlock, the more damage these golems are going to do. So building items like Bracer, items like Heart, Octarine Core, Ether Lens, all these types of items are going to be very beneficial for you. So building Bracers on Warlock in the laning phase is going to be really nice. You're also going to be getting the mana boots and a wand. Any type of regen items that you're going to be able to get are going to help those golems do a lot more damage. And trust me, they are no freaking joke. These freaking golems in the late game do so much damage that if you don't have a real good way of dealing with them, you're going to be in a lot of pain. And once Warlock has the Aghanim Scepter refresher, they're just going to be beating you down and pretty much going to be winning most of the team fights on their own. They're just that strong right now. And the innate ability is Eldritch Summoning. A unit that dies under the effect of Warlock's ability summons an imp that explodes and does damage. That's also going to help your damage potential. Can also help you clear up some creep waves. It's always going to be a really nice ability. Upheaval has gotten so strong in the last few patches, but you pretty much don't take a point in Shadow Word. It kind of feels griefing to take a point in Shadow Word unless it's a really tough lane and your carry needs a little bit more regen. Then maybe take one value point in it, but it's not recommended. Maxing Upheaval is always going to be the play, and Fatal Bonds is going to help you get that extra damage. It's all about the damage on the Warlock nowadays. You're not playing as passive. You're building maybe one support item. When it comes to it, you're building maybe a Force Staff or maybe a Glimmer Cape. That's about it. Everything else is going to be pretty greedy. You're going to be helping people out with your abilities, but you're not going to be building a ton of support items like Warlock used to do. Warlock used to be the type of hero that would build a ton of these support items, and then eventually, maybe in the 50-minute mark, get an Aghanim Scepter, maybe start building a little bit more greedy. But nowadays, you're putting a lot of priority on this Aghanim Scepter and the refresher, also on the Heart, just so those golems are doing a lot more burn damage, which is what it's all about. And if you're playing with another support like Ogre, they're going to be buffing those golems up. So it's a really good pairing for you guys to be playing with this. You could also play it with Darkseer. I've seen this happen a few times where the Ogre will buff the golems and then he will get surged. It's honestly a pretty stupid combo because you have a freaking really strong golem running people down at max movement speed. It's honestly a really nice combo for you guys to try. Darkseer is really strong in the meta, and then you pair that up with a Warlock and an Ogre, which is always going to be a pretty decent support. You have slows, you have stun, and you have that extra buff. It's going to be nice for these golems, so please prioritize this combo. It is really nice, so I highly recommend you guys to be trying combos like this out and just play for the golems. And once you guys have refresher and maybe an Octarine, the golems are going to be coming off cooldown quite quickly, and you're going to be able to win a lot more of these team fights. Now let's break down some of the best and worst matchups for Warlock. Typically, you're going up against heroes like Phantom Lancer, Meepo, Naga Siren, Chaos Knight. Heroes that have illusions, you're always going to be good up against just because Fatal Bonds are so strong, and Upheaval is going to be really strong against these illusion heroes. It's just too much slow, and at the same time you're proccing these imps, which actually do quite a bit of damage. So when you see any of these heroes, pick a Warlock if people actually allow you to pick it, because the hero's banned pretty much every single game in my bracket. Let me know how you guys are picking Warlock, because I'm not really able to get a whole lot of playing time on the hero. It is super fun, and some of the heroes you're bad up against are Weaver, Morphling, Lycan, Ursa. Very burst type heroes. Ursa can do very well against the golems, especially when he pops BKB and has maybe an item like Desolator. You're going to be tearing through these golems. So these types of heroes that have a lot of physical burst damage are going to be able to take care of the golems, but that's more of a mid to late game type of thing, because in the early game pretty much no one can man fight the golems. Even though they're not as strong, they're still really strong, and people just don't want to fight into them, especially under Upheaval. It doesn't feel good to go up against these things. They're just way too strong. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Warlock in the current patch. I think the hero definitely is ban worthy in every single game. He's just way too strong, provides way too much for his team, and it pretty much makes him a beast in the late game. Thanks to his new facet, it is going to make him a much bigger threat in the late game. He's no longer played as like this very passive hero. Like, the hero gets kills, does a lot more damage, and then it's a lot more interesting to play Warlock. He used to be a very boring hero to play, play, and even spammers of Warlock weren't really a big fan of the hero, so it is nice that he's back in the meta and players are actually banning the hero of how strong he is. I just hope they don't nerf him to the ground. If they do nerf him a little bit, because I would like to see a hero like Warlock stay in the meta. Prioritizes a lot of team fighting, which is really nice. I hate passive metas where it's all about farming and just hitting those timings. It's just not really fun. I'd rather like deathball metas where it's all about fighting and not so much about farming. Farming to me is one of the most boring parts of Dota. I know it's necessary. I know you have to hit key timings in order to be more proficient at the game and win a lot more MMR. But at the same time, when it comes to strictly having fun, brawl metas are typically the best ones. And this meta is kind of a brawl meta because it's all about 5-manning. There isn't a lot of late game carries like Terrorblade, Morphling. Like, these heroes are not being played a whole lot. It's mostly about team fighting, and that's what I like, and that's one of the reasons why Warlock is in meta. Team fighting is key right now, and 5-manning when necessary. Warlock is one of the best 5-man heroes in the game, so it's always going to be very beneficial if you're able to get this hero on your side. Another thing is, when you guys get that extra buff of the 25 minutes for the bracers, make sure you guys are picking up 2 bracers. It's going to give you health regen, and it's also going to give you mana regen. Those are very important for you to have for those golems, so please make sure you guys are not sleeping on that. It's also going to make your Warlock super tanky, but if you guys don't need them in the laning phase, make sure to pick them up at 25 minutes when their value is doubled. Don't sleep on that. I see a lot of Warlock players don't put a lot of priority on this. I wouldn't put a ton of priority in the early game, but if you are struggling and you are dying, pick up 2 bracers. They're going to scale at 25 minutes and it's going to help your golems out. It's a win-win on the hero, and it's not like you need to rush the Aghanim Scepter as the first item. You can go for a Glimmer Cape, you can get an Ether Lens. There's a lot of smaller items you can do to start building up to this Aghanim Scepter, Refresher, Octarine, which will come in the late game. You're still a support. You're going to get a few kills here and there, but you're not going to be farming as much. You're going to be farming a creep wave here and there with imps, but most of the time you're not getting a whole lot of farm. So prioritize these bracers. They're going to help you a ton. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would definitely like to know your opinion on a hero like Warlock. He's one of my favorite supports in Dota. I'm truly happy that he is in the meta. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys did, leave a like and consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.